Hi, I'm Geeta Srinivasan. In this video, we are going to see about inheritance in C Sharp. So, first, what is an inheritance? Suppose we are having a class. In that class, we have certain properties and certain methods. If we want to use that particular properties and methods, everything again and again. Suppose in the future there is a need for a new class that must also include all the methods or properties you had in your previous class. Then, instead of rewriting the code again and again, you can inherit the properties of another class. So, to reuse and modify the existing class, we can use the inheritance concept. So, in inheritance, you will have a base class and then you will have a derived class. That particular derived class will inherit the properties of a base class. Suppose if you want to restrict inheritance while writing a program, in that case you can use the sealed keyword to do that. Now we are going to see about the different types of inheritance. So first one is single level inheritance, second one is multi-level inheritance, and then multiple inheritance. So here in C Sharp, multiple inheritance is not supported. But if you want to achieve the multiple inheritance, then you can go for interfaces. So now let us see what is each type of inheritance and what is the syntax. So here in single level inheritance, you will have a class as usual. First you will mention the access specifier, then the class name. So this is going to be the base class. So inside this, you will have all the required properties and methods. Then following that, you are going to create a new class. So class followed by the new class name. Then you will have the colon. Then you will mention the base class. Whatever property you are going to use, you have to mention that particular parent class name. So if you use like this, you can use the parent class members, properties and methods. Anything if you want to reuse, you can use that. So this is the syntax for single level. Now, multi-level inheritance. So here you will have more than one level. So if you see the syntax, you can see there is first class, second class, third class, and then the main method. So the second class is going to inherit the properties of class first, and the class third is going to inherit the properties of class second. So the class third will have the properties of first as well as properties of second. And then we have the main function. So here we can create objects for each classes, and we can using the class third we can access all the properties of both the first and the second class. The single level inheritance is really simple if you understand multi-level. So first we are going to see an example for a multi-level inheritance. I'm going to name this particular class as social accounts. So here inside this social accounts class, I'm going to include some three parameters, three string parameters. Facebook ID, another one is going to be the Twitter ID, and the third one is going to be the Insta ID. These are the three string parameters. So here I'm going to include a constructor. So whatever value I receive in the constructor, I'm going to assign that respective values to the three string variables present locally. Now I'm going to include a new class. That class is going to be the contact detail class. So this contact detail class inherits the properties of the social accounts class. So now inside this I'm going to include a string parameter, and the parameter name is mobile number. So inside this now, as we did before, I'm going to include a constructor. So that's going to be the contact detail. And it's going to accept So it is going to accept some 4 parameters. So first it is going to like string number, then FID, then another variable which is going to be the ID, then another variable which is going to be the insta ID. So here we have this particular contact details class constructor is going to accept some 4 parameters. One is going to be the number, FID, TID, and instaID. Pass the values to the base class constructor. We have the keyword base, and then whatever the social accounts class accepts all these 3 parameters in the constructor. So we have to pass FID, TID, and instaID. So inside this, at present, we have just this mobile number variable. So whatever we receive in the number, we will assign to the mobile number. Now in the contact details class, we use all the properties of the social accounts class. So now again, I'm going to show the multi-level inheritance. Now I'm going to include another class, and I'm going to name this particular class as person. So here this particular person class is again going to have a string parameter that is going to be the person's name, and here also it's going to include a constructor, so that's going to be the person. So here, so in addition to name, this particular person class must include the properties of contact details also. So it includes other values also, string number, then string FID, then Twitter ID, then string Insta ID. So column. So the base class is going to be the contact details class for the person class. So this contact detail class accept 4 parameters. So I have to pass 4 values to the base class. So which is going to be the number. So just we can pass only the variable names. Since we have declared the data types as string, here we are just passing the variable names. So now we have 3 classes. Now I'm going to create object and access all the methods inside the main function. So here what I'm going to do, so here this person class includes the properties of contact detail class as well as the social accounts class. See, if you see here, it includes all the properties, that is the name, number, FID, Twitter ID, and Insta ID. So it includes properties of the previous classes also. So it is just enough to create object for the person class. So now I'm going to create object for the person class, and I'm going to name this as P. So here inside this constructor, it accepts parameters. So it accepts 4 parameters. Sorry, 5 parameters. So we have to pass all the values. So I'm just going to pass my name and some random number string that is going to be the FBID. So I'm going to pass it's 1, 2, 3. So now I'm going to pass the Twitter ID, and that is going to be, and then I'm going to pass the Insta ID, and that is going to be NS1, 2, 3. So now we have passed all the values. Since this person constructor accepts 5 parameters, so I have passed some 5 string values. So now here this we are going to display all the values. First I'm going to print the name, mobile number, be the Facebook ID, it is going to be the Twitter ID, so going to be the Instagram ID. So here the first value is going to be p dot name. So the second one we have displayed it as mobile number, and the third one is going to be p dot Facebook ID, so that is going to be FB ID, Twitter ID, so Insta ID. Here when we try to run, let us see what is the result. So now when we check the output in this window, we can see that we receive all the values. So by creating an object for the person class, we receive the values of name, mobile number, Facebook ID, Twitter ID and Instagram ID. So now in this example, we have three classes. One is social accounts, contact details and person class. So here in the main function, we just create object for the person class P. That constructor accepts some 5 values, all the 3 IDs, number and name. Since it is multi-level, it includes the values of both the classes, that is the social accounts as well as contact detail class. It receives the properties one by one. So here inside this constructor, we pass all the values for all the 5 parameters. So this in turn executes the constructor inside the person class. So besides this name, all the 4 values are passed to the base class. So to pass the values to the base class constructor, we use this particular syntax. So the number, FID, Twitter ID, Insta ID will be passed to the contact details class, which is the base class for the person. So now inside the contact detail class, we receive the number, FID, Twitter ID and Insta ID. So we will receive the 91234, then the FBGS123, Twitter ID and the Insta ID here. So now besides the number, we have to pass all the other 3 values to the base class for the contact detail, which is going to be the social accounts class. So here we are passing the Facebook ID, Twitter ID and Insta ID. And we assign the value whatever we receive in the number to its present class parameter, which is the mobile number. Now, so here since we passed through this way, so here all the values will be passed to the social accounts class constructor. So we will receive FID, Twitter ID and Insta ID, which is going to be the FBGS123, TW123, INS123 in the social accounts class, and then we assign the respective values to the local parameters, which is going to be the FB ID, Twitter ID and Insta ID. So this is the multi-level inheritance. For single level also the same syntax, but instead of multiple levels, it will have just a single derived class. Okay. So if you like the video, subscribe to my channel Programming Info by GS. Thank you.